I am joined from Capitol Hill by Republican Senator John Isakson of Georgia. Senator Isakson, welcome back to Bottom Line. A pleasure to have you back on.
Glad to be with you, Mark. Thank you.
Sir, when you and I spoke here at Bloomberg World Headquarters last month, you told me that you believe the fiscal cliff would be postponed from the end of this year into next year. Is that still your belief?
Yes, and I think if you listen closely to the president's answer today, he did not rule out a compromise between his position and John Boehner's position. I think we still have time to have a template to go into next year to have comprehensive tax reform that raises revenues through reforming the entire code and protect the middle class. I think the president left that option open, and I think it's time for us to all come together and do exactly that. So we have the time to do it. I hope we have the will to do it.
Senator Isakson, the president, as I mentioned, holding talks with business executives at the White House. He does want their support for his proposal to raise $1.6 trillion in additional revenue, mostly from high-income taxpayers. And that number, by the way, it's twice the amount that the president discussed with Republican leaders during debt talks in the summer of 2001. Is that a non-starter for you?
Well, what's a non-starter is to not tie it to deficit and debt reduction. Just raising revenues without dealing with the debt and the deficit has got to be a non-starter. We're in the problem we're in because we borrow too much and we spend too much. So whatever increases come have to be tied to deficit reduction first and ultimately debt reduction.
Senator, in your home state of Georgia, what are CEOs and business leaders telling you? How much is the uncertainty over the fiscal cliff tying their hands in terms of hiring and expansion plans?
Well, it's protracting what is still a recession since 2007, 2008. There's offshore profits stranded because there's no repatriation. There's money in the bank here because you don't know what Dodd-Frank regulations are coming or what regulations are coming out of the administration. We need regulatory certainty, and we need a path towards reducing our debt and our deficit. I think that's what the president will hear today.
Sir, Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney proposed placing a cap on deductions and other tax breaks. Could that be a potential bridge between Democrats who want top earners to pay more and Republicans who want to avoid a tax rate increase?
Absolutely, and it's much more fair approach to do it that way. If you means test itemized deductions based on income, you can actually lower the rate but raise the revenue that comes in because you're expanding the base upon which the tax is levied.
Sir, during our interview last month, you also told me, quote, the biggest threat to the American economy is the Congress of the United States of America. If Congress knows what needs to be done, what's the holdup? Is it politics or is it principles?
Well, I think part of the holdup has been a lack of somebody willing to take the first step forward. I would like to say we got an opening from the president today in his press conference when he would not rule out sitting down and talking about things other than rate increases. That's an important first step, and I would urge the House leadership under John Boehner and our leadership in the Senate to hopefully sit down at the table and see if we can't find a way to either means test itemized deductions or use comprehensive reform.
Senator, I have to ask you in about 20 seconds the president's comments about the former CIA director David Petraeus. Do you have any concerns that perhaps national security was breached in this affair?
I think the president answered the question exactly the way he should as of now. We all hate the loss of David Petraeus. We all hope there was no breach of security. In the end, I believe there wasn't, but we'll wait for the final report to come out and see.
Georgia Republican Senator Johnny Isakson joining us from Capitol Hill. Senator, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you very much.
One of the other top stories.